Thank you so much again. My name is Brenda, and I'm so grateful to be here and for the opportunity that Michael has given me to not only work here, but to give this presentation today. So I'm going to be talking about the basics of photography. We're going to go over what are we capturing here at Bethesda, what is the bare minimum gear needed for photography, the 3 most important camera settings, what is focus, framing. I'll give you some tips, and we'll talk about editing plus delivery and how you can serve in this area. So what are we capturing? We're capturing baptisms, service projects, baby dedication, Sunday morning, special events, and more. Why are we doing this? We want to share the gospel of Jesus Christ through social media, print material, digital ads, event, and other ways. So let's talk about what is the bare minimum gear needed for photography. You need a camera, a lens, a battery, and a memory card. Make sure, I've learned this the hard way, make sure the battery is fully charged or you have an extra battery, and the memory card has enough storage space. That is very important because you don't want to be in the middle of the event and you don't have battery or you don't have enough storage space. You'll be left with no photos. Okay, so the 3 most important camera settings. Number 1 is shutter speed. Shutter speed is the length of time that the camera shutter is open, exposing light onto the camera sensor. Essentially, it's how long your camera spends taking a photo. So the quicker the shutter speed, the less light it captures. The longer the shutter speed, the more light it captures. Also, shutter speed has to do also with motion. So when you use a long shutter speed, you end up exposing your sensor for a significant period of time. The first big effect of it is motion blur, as we see that image there. A fast shutter speed freezes action, as we see in that image there. So the faster the shutter speed, the sharper the image, the slower the shutter speed, the blurry the image. Let's talk about aperture. Aperture represents a pulp in your lens that can open and close to let different amounts of light. ISO. In a very basic term, ISO simply is a camera setting that will brighten or darken photos. So the lower the ISO, the darker the image. The higher the ISO, the more light it captures. Let's talk about what is focus. In photography, it's practically married to sharpness. An image that is completely sharp is said to be in focus. An image that's completely blurred is said to be unfocused. And I want to add for beginners, I recommend for you to use your camera in automatic. I usually have my camera in AV mode. And when I'm focusing, I like to aim to the subject, and then you press the shutter button halfway, and these will light up. So that's telling you that it's capturing, it's in focus. And then you press to take the photo. Framing. To take engaging photos, you need to be engaged with what you're doing. Put thought into your composition and try to make your photo as good as possible. So I know Michael talked about headroom. So headspace is the amount of space between the top of your subject's head and the top of the frame. So you always want to have enough headspace here. We never want to chop people's heads or parts of their body. Again, the rule of thirds, like Michael explained, we want to focus in this area and have our subject in this area here. Tips for beginners. Take your time and review your photos, figuring out what's the problem or how this photo can be best. So always look at what you're doing. Move your feet, climb on top of things, change height of your camera, walk forwards or backwards, do whatever you need to do, but keep moving. And last, shoot a lot and experiment. The more you experiment and the more photos you take, the better your photos will be. Editing and delivery. Once you've taken your photos, select the best shots. If you're working with Lightroom or any other editing software, What I usually do is I do the basics of exposure, highlights, shadows, brightness. Those are the basic edits that I do on photography. If you don't have a software, that's not a problem. You can give us those shots and we'll send you a link so you can drop them there, and we'll take care of that. How can you serve? We'll get your information, like Michael said at the end, if we don't have it. And then you'll get notified by email once we have an event and we have a volunteer opportunity. We'll contact you, and then you'll have the opportunity to accept or decline. And we thank you again for your willingness and for your interest.